Coloured Butterfly by Veronica Walker of Penshurst, 2222. Narrated by Janine Penfold. I'm out of the chrysalis. A tear rolled down my face as I made my way to the podium. Dreams do come true. Dad always said, it's not where you come from, it's where you're going and how you live your life that counts. He relayed the story of how he met Mum. He usually slept in Sunday mornings to nurse his bruises after a soccer game on Saturday. For some unknown reason, this fateful Sunday, he said with a twinkle in his eye, he was out on the veranda having a cup of coffee. Then, out of the blue, a beautiful girl walked by. For a moment he thought lack of sleep was the cause for his delusion. He was a shy young man and blushed when his brothers teased him about the mysterious girl. The attractive girl was a mystery, therefore she intrigued him. Many weeks passed while he waited, in vain, for this elusive girl. He did not abandon hope of seeing her again. Then suddenly, she reappeared, impeccably dressed, wearing a pink dress with her signature hat and gloves. He was so eager to approach her, in his haste he tripped, and she giggled at his clumsiness. It made the embarrassing incident worthwhile. For a moment he was tongue-tied, and the butterflies in his stomach didn't help either. Somehow he managed to introduce himself. She had mesmerising brown eyes and a dazzling smile. This made his heart beat faster, and the intoxicating scent of her perfume made him go giddy. He said it was love at first sight. That was the beginning of a unique friendship. A relationship was not even contemplated at that stage. It was too complicated. She was coloured. He was white. Associating with a different race was against the law during the apartheid era. They couldn't bear to be apart. So, without hesitation, Dad relinquished all his privileges as a white person and reclassified to coloured. He left his home, family, and everything familiar to start a completely different life. Dad said, I found a loving new family, and they welcomed me to their home. Dad and Mum said we were over the moon when we got married. Their parents were the only guests at the wedding because some relatives were racists. I overheard Dad after returning from a visit to his uncle. He made me feel like an outcast. Mum reassured him. We are blessed. We have each other. They were united. When Dad's parents died, he attended their funeral without Mum by his side. He was teary and it broke her heart. Dad had a silly sense of humour. I remember the time he snuck us, under blankets, into a whites-only drive-in cinema. He called it Spot the Kid game. Mum, usually calm, was nervous at times about some of Dad's antics. Born during the apartheid era, as a child, I noticed the difference and injustice. We too were sad because we couldn't play with our cousins. Coloured schools were under-resourced. Education was inferior and lacked many amenities. Working also had its challenges. Paid lower wages for doing similar jobs and dismissed for trivial reasons if a white colleague thought you had an attitude. Bullying was a regular occurrence. Demeaning remarks like half-breed, given menial tasks and treated like an imbecile. Coloureds were seated in a separate room during festive season functions. Whites were bosses and coloured workers. Picture a queen bee and her workers. I recall one particular manager who had so much racial hate, always had a sharp tone to his voice and scoffed at non-white staff. Going to work was stressful. The apartheid regime allowed whites to treat coloureds with disdain. Coloureds didn't belong to either side. Both whites and blacks ostracised them. Some blacks believed coloureds were traitors. They tested our loyalty by inviting us to their locations, built on the outskirts of the city by government authorities to control the population. One road in, one road out. We had to apply for a special permit at the police station, if issued. We had a limited time to remain in the area. So, for your effort, you were given the benefit of the doubt and passed the test. Whites didn't associate with coloureds unless work-related. One day, I was sent to the post office to collect documents. I mustered courage and became a rebel. For just a split second, I thought, brave and foolish? I boldly walked into the whites-only entrance. My heart was pounding, and I could feel the perspiration trickling down my body. I stepped up to the counter, and then panic set in. I asked myself, are you insane? I wanted to turn around and run. Wearing high heels on the day was not a good idea either. The clerk looked at me through her thick glasses. I bet she could see my heart beating through my blouse. Time stood still. She handed me over the documents. No identification required. I walked out in trepidation, expected a tap on the shoulder by a security guard and be charged for breaking the law. Once outside, I regained my composure and breathed a sigh of relief. I had a spring in my step. And that was the day I became Play White, a derogatory remark about fair-skinned coloureds. Life became quite interesting after such defiance. It's okay to take a chance on yourself. Life is for the living. Apartheid controlled our lives, not our minds. My parents had tenacity, were kind, generous, and negotiated the path of their lives with humility, optimism, and love. I will always be grateful for their guidance and love. That's what made me. As a grandmother, I returned to college to complete my studies as a free, independent woman. I remember Dad's words. It's not where you come from, it's where you're going and how you live your life that counts. The end.